So, after Icelandic State Park, I headed east to Cavalier, North Dakota, which is the closest piece of civilization. Had lunch there, and then I headed north to Walhalla, North Dakota, and then I headed west on Highway 55 into Pembina Gorge. Now, as you head west on Highway 55, there's a little offshoot that just kind of randomly goes off that's unpaved, and that's the one you take, and it's not that well labeled. But you wander down that for a while. You start to get scared that, oh shoot, I'm lost. And then you see the big parking area. And that's where my walking narration picks up. And if you saw the raindrops, yeah, that plays into the story in just a bit. So I'm at Pembina Gorge on the Three Sisters Trail. It's not quite as nice as the other one at Icelandic Park, but anyway, the gorge is nice. It's called Gorge because it's gorgeous. There is a nice parking area, and oh, it's raining, so we'll see how much I do. Some prairie roses along the way. Yes, I did walk back to my car to get a bag for my camera. But let's see how far I go. It is raining a little harder, so maybe not super far. I am definitely feeling like this is more of an ATV trail. I thought it was non-motorized, but maybe I'm wrong. I'll try not to let my camera bag crinkle, but again, what state is this again? So this is the most continuously forested part of North Dakota. And of course they want the ATVers to stay on the trail, but because they're going to do damage, they'll just cause erosion problems and everything just with a few people. And, you know, hikers going to cause a lot less damage, but it's usually good practice to stay on the trail. And here's why. Even with a hiker, enough people have taken that shortcut that it's starting to get worn down into a path. And that'll be an erosion spot in the future. So this might actually be kind of fun to ride downhill on a mountain bike. The uphill, maybe not so much. I kind of think I'll be huffing and puffing, just carrying my own weight around, not even trying to also ride a bike up it. I have some more of these berries growing that I saw at Icelandic State Park this morning, only here they're a little more mature, maybe because they're out in the open. But I do think we're headed into some forest here. And I hope my plastic bag that's holding the camera and keeping it safe is not crinkling too much. It was not in the original plan, but this trip has been months in the planning and anticipation, and doggone it, I'm gonna do it. I don't care if I get wet. Yes, I need a haircut as soon as I get back home. That's on schedule for Tuesday. But anyway, just kind of enjoying the view of the gorge there. You know, if those trees were out of the way right behind me, it would be a nice view of the other side, but still. This is interesting. I almost want to say it's sumac, which I used for cooking for the first time this spring. I made some meatballs that, you know, they had a Greek yogurt and feta cheese and sumac sauce. It was good, kind of a citrusy taste. Haven't really entered the forest yet, just kind of skirting around the edges of it. This is looking more promising. I guess it's North Dakota, so we kind of have to ease into the forest thing. I have the feeling that this warning isn't so much for me hiking as it is for people on ATVs. Because I've decided this must be a motorized trail. All right, we're in the forest of incredibly stunted trees with a turn up ahead. Just realized I left my water in the car, so didn't use any on my last hike, but I sure used a bunch when I got back, so but we're going this way for a little further, maybe not as far as I'd planned, especially the rain's getting harder. I just checked on my map, put it away right away so it doesn't get soaked, but apparently this is a motorized trail. But what you do is you hike back and then it connects to the non-motorized trails, so you can ATV back and then hike and then ATV out again. If you're like me and you just want to hike, well, I guess you dodge the ATVs. But you can kind of see why after a rain, they close these paths off because holy buckets. In fact, I'm getting a little nervous just being on foot. Okay, it's raining even harder, so I hate to do it, but I think I'm going to turn around. So I'll find some other way to explore and watch when I get back to the car it lets up. An advantage to this is you get different views when you go the other direction. You know, I've traveled Spearfish Canyon for years and always in one direction. And one year I took it a different direction, like, holy cow, this is like a totally different road. And just like I said, as soon as I turn around, it's going to quit raining. So I'm back out of the forest and the rain has slowed down. But I also don't want to get soaked. Maybe if I had brought a change of clothes, I'd feel a little differently. I don't know. I do hear an ATV. Oh, now it's stopped. But it feels like it's in the wrong direction to be on this path. I don't know. Got to go into teacher mode for a minute. They talk about glacial erratics. So what happens is the glaciers sometimes leave random rocks. So, you know, millennia later, you find them, you're like, well, how'd that get there? Glacier. Here's a baby one. And that geology does not match the geology of this area at all. It's just quit again, but now I'm thinking the ATV may have been behind me on the path. I know an ATV had been down this path. So I think it's down there somewhere. Maybe he's bothered by the rain too. I think this is going to be a nice little picnic area in a couple of years. Whoops, don't want to show that outhouse. You know, when the trees get bigger. So it's not raining quite as hard, but it's raining harder again. So I may have dodged a bullet, I don't know. And there is definitely an ATVer out there. I will carefully hide his license plate to give him some privacy, but yeah, there is one out there, so I did hear one. So let's check out the Pembina Gorge State Recreation Area by North Dakota Parks and Rec. Okay, this is a little sad. And the flowers, oh, there's a few. They must have dried up. It doesn't look like really welcoming soil. This is looking a lot more promising. And another prairie rose. After I left the park, I decided to start exploring, and it was kind of interesting. I didn't really have a map of the township roads or the county roads or anything, so I just kind of wandered. I kind of knew generally what I wanted to accomplish with my wandering, but so I found some really steep downhills, which were heavily forested, and the impression I was getting from that was, boy, this feels a lot like it could be in Pennsylvania. I mean, maybe the trees are a little different, but definitely felt like home. And then I had some uphills, had a little bit of countryside, and as I'm wandering the countryside and finding more ups and downs and forest, then I thought to myself, I'm only like 4 miles out of Canada. This would be really awkward if I crossed the Canadian border by accident, end up on some provincial highway, get pulled over by the Mounties for having a U.S. license when you're not allowed up there, and get sent to a Canadian gulag. The good thing is, at this end of North Dakota, I would be sent to a Manitoba gulag rather than a Saskatchewan gulag, and they're a lot nicer. But none of them are as nice as the Ontario gulags. But anyway, then I eventually ended up back out on the highway, Highway 55, and went just a little ways west, and ended up at a road sign I had noticed on the way in. Brick Mine Road, and I just thought to myself, well, that's a funny name for roads. So I took it. Went down a steep hill, through the forest, and found a bridge that went over the Pembina River, which, by the way, is the only whitewater river in North Dakota. And there was another family there. And I'll tell you the rest of the story after I explore the bridge. Okay, the rain has stopped for now. Super humid though, but I discovered that the road was going nowhere. Turned around and check that out. We got a cliff. So I came down the Brick Mine Road. It's starting to sprinkle again, but it wasn't sprinkling on the way down. And I found the Brick Mine Bridge. So, you know, I've said that Pembina Gorge has the only whitewater rafting in North Dakota. But I mean, it is North Dakota, so, you know. Just a little fun information about the bridge. So 1905, and I don't know, where's it go? So there was a family down here when I came down. I went further up the road after I crossed the bridge, kind of hoping they'd be gone, but they were still here when I came back. But they finally left. I didn't really want to walk around filming and stuff while they were there. But one thing they asked me was, you know, where it's been dug there, because it's kind of terraced, what they mined. I don't know. You know, I live in the exact opposite corner of the state from this, but I'm guessing the clay layer, because I'm guessing they used the brick for the clay for the bricks. And I think it's kind of fun to frame that cliff with this fun bridge that people are already graffitiing. One other thing I realized as I'm down here is that I can take pictures off of my camera because I've got the Leica that I use to film, you know, the me talking part when I'm at home for my pen videos, and it connects to this phone, so I'm going to have very good photos that I can take off and put on my phone, because it takes really good photos, a lot better than what this cell phone does. Oh, it is starting to rain again. How about that? And the family did ask about my shirt. So squirrels are my spirit animal. The animal kind of got hidden in the fold of the shirt there. After that, I returned to Highway 55, which is a county road, by the way. And I discovered that shortly after you leave to go to the park, or I'm sorry, to the gorge, the road turns to gravel. I guess I knew that because I'd visited here previously, but, you know, there you go. And there's a ski resort there, which I didn't go to. And apparently there's more hiking, which I did not know about. So, yeah, got to make a third trip up there now. Doggone it all to heck. Jeepers. Okay. But anyway, traveled down the gorge. And down at the bottom, of course, there was a bridge over the Pembina River. And there was a pull-off right there. So I pulled off, took a few pictures. Of course, the bridge is the Vang Bridge. So I took a little detour while I was, you know, when I got rained out of my hike, and didn't exactly know where I was going, but I approximately knew. I was kind of hoping it would take me to the Vang Bridge, but it didn't, and it turns out it wouldn't have. But I found the Vang Bridge. So I am here at the corner of County Road 55 and 120th Avenue Northeast. And it makes a T. Just noticed an abandoned house in the trees. A little bit of a fixer-upper, but definitely in a pretty location. So here I am. So standing on the Vang Bridge right now, we're overlooking the Pembina River, which is what carved out the Pembina Gorge. And again, it's the only whitewater river in the state of North Dakota. But you gotta remember it's North Dakota, and we're in a drought right now, so it's kind of low anyway. Concrete bridges over with gravel roads on either side get dirty very quickly, so I don't even know why they bother putting drains in them, but they did. But another interesting view, and then I continued up the hill. Then I got to a fork in the road. And, you know, the old saying is, when you get to a fork in the road, take it. Well, the last time I did this, I went right. I ended up a decent tour, ended up in the countryside fairly quickly. I'm like, okay, out of the gorge, and nice countryside, want this soil in my garden, and Eventually ended up on the highway. But I went left this time. I'm so glad I did. Then I stopped, took a few pictures just up the hill because I was just like, hey, this is pretty. Almost did not come the scenic way. I almost went on County Road 55, but so glad I did. And I'm not even very far up it, but I just wanted to share what's around me and what's ahead of me. And yeah, this lens kind of messes with the scale because it makes everything close look bigger and everything far away look smaller. And then I continued on, and at first I thought, okay, I'm getting into farmland just like the other way. But it wasn't done yet. I found, I don't know if it was the Pembina Gorge or just like a tributary of the Pembina Gorge or what the heck it was, but doggone, I liked it. And took some pictures there. But then I did end up in regular farmland again. And just heard my back door open, so I'm going to go investigate that. Okay, no big whoop. It just turns out that the wind from the storm that's brewing up would just caused a weird pressure thing, and the back door just came open because it wasn't latched securely, so emergency over. But anyway, I wandered through farm country for a while, eventually ended up on the highway, and finally ended up in Langdon a few hours earlier than planned. But I found some neat prizes in Langdon, so, if I wouldn't have come home early thanks to the rain, I wouldn't have found these prizes, so there is something to that. And let me just say, before I show you the prizes in Langdon, wow. Is this beautiful farmland or what? I wish I had soil like this where I live. Okay, I pulled into the Dollar General to see if there was an SD card reader, and there isn't, but I thought, even though it's pouring rain, it was worth showing you this interesting lot. I'm going to not trespass, but look at all these beautiful vehicles. Just sitting out in the rain. And over here, some interest. Ooh, actually, that's kind of interesting there. I don't know what that is, if it's some kind of a hot rod or, some kind of mutant made by melding things together. And then, of course, over here, we have some old farm trucks. Drove right past this place last night. I didn't even notice it. So aren't these some cool old Fords? I wouldn't mind. Other than, I don't want one, but I think that would be kind of fun to have one. But yeah, it's raining. I think I'm going to go over to the grocery store and get my supper. Why don't I eat out tonight? Don't feel like eating out.